Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Taylor Dahl is here. RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Mia O'Brien is on vacation this week. She'll return next week. And next week, Taylor, we have the 1010XL cook-off.
We do.
So we need somebody to cook some ribs. But they only have to feed 3 people.
Yes.
3 judges. You don't
if
have
you
to
want
cook
to
ribs
feed
for
more,
everybody.
you can.
But we know ribs are expensive these days.
It'll be fun, though. So normally we've had a few cook-offs here. We had one for the Super Bowl this year where we did a chili cook-off is how it started. We expanded it into other Super Bowl type foods. And then we did one for Thanksgiving. We had a blast, but we obviously, with all of us cooking and us judging, we had some bias that were happening. So we were like, let's let listeners do it. So we came up with this plan to where each show is going to be represented by one of their our Heeligans. We've got Googans and Nooners and, everybody that listens all day, but each one will be representing a certain show. And we're going to have 2 people competing like ribs against ribs. And then we're going to have 2 people competing burgers against burgers, and then like 4th of July type sides. So each show is dedicated to a certain food. The listener gets to come in, cook, like we said, just for 3 people, just the 3 judges. If you want to bring more than that, that's fantastic. But then we have judges that are going to taste test. The winner gets $100 to Southern Steer Butcher. If you have not been there, it's fantastic. You rant and rave. You've told all your friends about what is the one, the chicken, the Argentine chicken.
Yes,
fantastic.
You love the poppers.
The poppers. I already told for the 4th of July party I'm going to. I was like, this is what I'm bringing because I want them. So I hope everybody else likes them. But yeah, so it'll be fun.
Everybody else.
Yes, it'll be fun though. So we are looking for one person to represent Helmets and Heels. So if you have ribs that you think could win, let us know. We'll pick one person to compete for us, and it'll be July 2nd that we will be doing that contest.
I love it. If they want to participate, should they just get back to you on Twitter?
Yeah, if you want to DM or message or comment myself, because I posted it today too, or Mia, whoever you can contact easily, or obviously you, Lauren. One of us 3 reach out to us, and we'll pick someone who we feel like. Some people just pick through on air. We figured a social one would be fun to give maybe some more opportunity to some people that don't get to listen every day, or maybe just didn't listen for the one segment, and this gives more opportunity for people to participate, but it will be fun.
I do love it. All right, let's get it to last night in the Stanley Cup. We had a team win for the first time ever. That would be the Florida Panthers. They beat the Edmonton Oilers 2-1. So this was my evening, Taylor. Watched the College World Series basically start to finish. Also watched the hockey game, Game 7, start to finish. And here's what I would like to know. How do people go to sleep after watching this type of stuff? I also watched some of the track and field because then I couldn't fall asleep after the Game 7. It is such riveting sports watching, whether it's the baseball, whether it's the hockey. And certainly I'm not someone who has a team when it comes to the NHL. I don't follow it that closely. But when it comes to the playoffs, you can't turn it on and not get invested because of the crowd and everything like that. And so my question to you, Florida Panthers, everyone talked about how if they lost that game because they had been up 3-0 and the Oilers came back and won the next 3. If they had lost that game at home, it would have been the biggest sports collapse in history, right? Do you think they even thought about that going in? Do you think the victory was sweeter because they avoided that?
Yeah, I think that I'm sure it was a little piece in their minds because also not only blowing the 3-0 lead in it, but the way the games went also. It was almost all Oilers for those comeback games. And that's what was depleting. So I feel like maybe if it was like overtime games and, Oilers were just scraping by them, Oilers were absolutely dominating the Panthers. So I'm sure there was a little bit of them that was kind of like, we cannot let this happen. But they're ultimate competitors. I mean, we use the word sometimes gladiators when it comes to hockey players because they're obviously a whole other level when it comes to the physicality of what the game is. And so
their injuries are vast and wide, and yet they come right back in. And I do have a question for you. So when it comes to the Panthers, and I heard Dan Hicken talk about this because the Panthers knocked out his Rangers, right? And he was like, I don't like them. And, they're a little bit of a team that plays dirty. Now, in hockey, you can't really play dirty, right? Like checking and all that stuff is a part of it. But when I watched last night, and I was glad you told me before the game that the referees were just going to let it go. because there were so many times I was like, that seems like a foul. Or it's a penalty,
yeah.
obviously, in hockey. But when it comes to soccer, the sport that I feel like mirrors hockey, or should I say hockey mirrors soccer, but like those would all be fouls. So yes, the Panthers are super physical, but is there such a thing as a dirty team in hockey?
There are. Like the Bruins were known for that, probably still known for that. There's certain players that do take it to a certain level. You're not intentionally slashing people in the face. And there are players that are kind of known for that extra level of the dirty plays in hockey. There's not many. Like you can obviously check people into the boards and you're punching people and no one's calling that. But there are certain moments like the slashing and tripping and things like that people consider more of like the dirty plays in hockey. So it's not even the most physical stuff. It's more so the things that are affecting just somebody skating or being able to see. We saw a slash
Hurting
yesterday with someone in the eye, but it kind of made me laugh because he's like holding his eye and he keeps looking at his hand like waiting for blood. I was like, there's no blood there. Just keep skating. Go on. But maybe he just like felt, maybe he was like, okay, that felt like I should be bleeding. The game was a wild game. Obviously 2-1, that's what you would want in game 7. I said yesterday I felt like it would be a closer, more competitive game just because that's what happens in a lot of these game 7s in the NHL. But the Oilers kind of disappointed me at the end. The game felt, and I was talking to Dan Hicken about this morning, I was like, it seemed slow motion. Like they were just gassed by the end. The third period for the first like 12, 13 minutes was fantastic because the Panthers barely had a shot on goal, but the Oilers were like shot on goal, multiple turnovers the Panthers had. It was all this stuff of the excitingness. But then they got to like 4 or 5 minutes left and you almost felt like they were just had no energy left in them.
Yeah, did they need to do a line shift?
And they do constantly. I mean, you don't notice how much they're actually like getting on and off, but obviously in that moment you want your best players on the ice
too. The commentators, that's the only reason I picked up on it, is they were like, they've had good on good out here for a while and they weren't doing that, and they did seem so tired, and I get why they're tired because they battled back to game 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did wonder in that moment, should there have been that shift, because you needed guys that were able to get up and down the ice a little bit faster.
Yeah, and it was slow motion. I also was like shouting at 4 minutes to pull the goalie. I don't know why they waited so long to pull the goalie. Normally, and in game 7, when it's a 1 goal different and you only have, even at 2 minutes, like 2 minutes is way too late. They should have, I would say 3.5, 4 minutes they should have pulled it. They waited way too long on that. That was an interesting choice because
the theory is if the Panthers had scored a goal, then it's over.
Yeah.
So if you keep him in a little bit longer, then you at least
But still,
keep it
like in hockey,
2-1.
that's not like in hockey. Once it gets to that, if you're in the final 4 or 5 minutes of a game and you're down 1 goal and it's like you've got to win this game, they pull it usually around the 3-4 minute mark, and they just waited forever. It was really odd. And Dan said the same thing this morning. I was like, why did they wait so long? And he was like, I was shouting that too. Like at 3.5 minutes, I was like, why is the goalie still in? Especially when they had control of the puck for so long too. If you're losing the puck and it's on the other end for a while, they'll usually wait to more like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. But so the end was kind of disappointing, and I think
especially how it literally ended with like the last 10 seconds
just in the corner.
Yes, I was like, come on, somebody throw somebody off of them.
Yeah, and then I think a lot of people, the storyline is Connor McDavid. He was just almost missing for the majority of the whole game, and
he had that shot too. Was that in the second period?
Yeah,
Maybe?
it was the second period.
Yeah,
like midway through the second.
Yeah,
I think.
He was like wide open, and you thought, okay, this is their time to tie it up.
Yeah, and so there was just a few moments that were definitely probably a little disappointing. If you're an Oilers fan, obviously you're devastated because that was probably one of those things. You're down 3-0, and they were probably like, okay, well, it's over. We're going to lose. And then you bring it to a game 7 and your hopes are high. You've been playing really good hockey. You have the best, if not one of the best players in hockey on your team. And it just, honestly, the last 2 games, he kind of went missing. So it's interesting, but I'm excited for Florida Panthers. Their first Stanley Cup, obviously. It's a really emotional if you watch it. It's one of, to me, watching it, one of the more emotional moments to watch in sports when it comes to that trophy, just because everyone's lifting it and they're kissing it and you're doing all these things, and then now for the next like month we get to see all the fun stories of where they're taking the Stanley Cup, and that's one of my favorite parts. I saw today they took it to the beach and he's like running out into the beach holding the Stanley Cup. Those are just fun to watch for the next few weeks.
So I guess Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, wasn't that a little surprise? And I know it's for the entire playoffs, but it seems like that should have gone to Sergei Bobrovsky, even though I understand the middle 3 games of the series, he allowed a bunch of goals, and I get that. but his team won. Like,
Yeah.
It does seem odd that Connor McDavid, like you said, disappeared the last 2 games, but then he still won that.
I saw several people tweeting during, like, the Oilers don't win, no way you can give it to Connor McDavid. But I just think that he set playoff records in all sorts of numbers when it comes to assists and points. And he is only missing, I think, like, he's 4th best, just behind Wayne Gretzky. When you're compared to Wayne Gretzky in stats like this,
Also true.
that's you're going to be talked about in this conversation. And I think at the end, it would have been the conversation, I think, if they gave it to Bobrovsky, where people would say, we understand, like, he just played an insane Game 7, only allowed 1 goal on almost 30 shots.
And played really good the first 3 games.
Yes. But I think then a lot of people were like, okay, but Connor McDavid is set, like I just said, record after record during these playoffs and during this year of things you just don't see every day in hockey.
So the other thing that I took away was this, to me, was very similar to the Celtics winning the championship, the NBA championship, because you had the best all-around team in the Panthers beating the team with the best player in the Oilers with Connor McDavid. If Connor McDavid was on the Panthers, they probably would have swept them because they were already headed to sweeping them earlier on. But that's very similar, like I said, then because the Mavs had Luka, Doncic, the best player in the NBA. But again, the all-around team in the Celtics won.
Yeah. And a lot of that, I mean, I think that when you're looking at certain sports, we were having this conversation, actually, I was having this conversation with Primetime, and we were talking about how the NBA now has had 7 different champions in 7 years, and how it's interesting to me that sports like the NBA and the NHL, where you have, 5, 6 guys on the ice, or you have 5 guys on the court, you would think one player would dictate those sports more than it does the NFL, but the quarterback has just such a big part of the NFL, and that's such a bigger roster, and you have more players on the field. And we were talking about how kind of crazy it is to think about that one player in a 52-man roster makes more of a difference a lot of times than when it comes to NBA and NHL. But I think that we talk about how gassed the Oilers were, and I think that's a big thing. If you don't have that, the shift changes, that all 3 of your lines are from top to bottom at least decent players, then you're going to struggle down the stretch, and that's what we saw because they were just gassed at the end.
Yeah, they certainly were. All right, getting it to baseball. Oh, and one other thing. Sean McDonough is so good at calling hockey.
Oh, so good. And that's so hard.
Yes.
I've talked to Alex Reed, who calls the Iceman games, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. The way you have to follow that puck, but in addition to just all the other things that are happening on the ice with shift changes and when there's penalties, obviously, and you're watching the goalie, but you're watching both goalies because you have to, like, if there's a breakaway, you're wanting to pay attention to where the other goalie is in that moment where he's in the net. So much things and very fast paced. So I give all the credit in the world to hockey, the guys that call hockey.
And I thought Doc Emmerich would be, I mean, he is legendary, but I thought no one could ever even take his place because of how good he was at it. And so for Sean McDonough to come in and be so seamless of a transition, it really is such a fun listen. Like, you could just close your eyes and listen to it.
And you're nervous.
and exactly. That's a good point. One other thing about the hockey, our friend Jim, who emails us a lot, a great listener, said Alanis Morissette singing the Canadian national anthem and then singing the United States national anthem, that the crowd basically overpowered her with the Canadian one, which was interesting because in watching the broadcast, it didn't seem like there were more Oilers than Panthers fans by any means. They just were so loud. But when it came to the United States national anthem, the crowd kind of was on the same rhythm that they're used to, and she veered from that. And so then she kind of had to go back and get caught up. Yeah, which I just thought was interesting. I feel like you should have one person for the Canadian anthem and one person for the
There was a
USA.
lot of critics on that choice for it. Like, I was seeing a lot of tweets like, that's the most Florida thing I've ever seen, having Alanis Morissette sing the Canadian national anthem. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right.
All right, so let's get into the College World Series. Tennessee wins the College World Series for the first time in its school history. Tennessee was up. You probably were watching way more hockey than baseball, but Tennessee was up 6-1 at one point over Texas A&M.
I was mainly watching hockey. I was actually out, so I was watching the hockey game out, and the sound was on the hockey game. Most people were watching the hockey game, but the College World Series was like to a TV to my right, and when I looked, it was 6-1, and I was like, oh, Tennessee has this, and the next thing you know, I looked, I was like, oh, wait, it's a game.
It started to become fun there in the 7th inning, and the commentators kept saying, they just need to, Kyle Peterson and I forget who else, kept saying, They just need to get a couple runs on the board and make it interesting in the ninth. And they did exactly that. And I give all the credit to Tennessee's starting pitcher, Xander Sechrist. So he's the guy that pitched against FSU in that elimination game.
Okay.
And he did really well that game and then really well, obviously, last night as well. And then Tennessee normally has really good closers, and their closers started to struggle. But they did put a freshman in, a guy named like Dylan Loy or something. And sitting on my couch, I'm like, how are you putting a freshman in this moment? That seems crazy, even though he had appeared 21 times this season. But anyway, that kid got run out, and then they ended up having to use, I think, 2 to 3 additional closers after I think they thought they could only use, or they could go out with just 2. But in the end, it was such theater. The entire College World Series, this has been one of my
really fun
favorite postseasons ever in all of college sports. I was so sad for it to end. I was almost wishing that we had like the same way we do in Major League Baseball and having it go to 7 games potentially. At least
like
best
more
out
than
of
3
7
games.
series. Yeah, like best of 5. I would have loved that because it has been just so incredible to watch. I give a shout out to both teams for this. It was 98 degrees when that game started in Omaha, Nebraska yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, shout out to the fans as well who were locked in obviously all season, or I mean all game long. And they showed a little baby in the stands that had just a diaper on, and there was a little misting fan on the baby. And I was like, I don't even know if that's like
helping right now.
keeping the baby comfortable. And then later in the game, they're like, all right, now it's a cool, calm 95 degrees out there. But the wind didn't blow a major amount in either direction, which I kind of liked because I felt like it was a level playing field for both teams. And in the end, like I said, Tennessee wins 6-5. And here's one person this person is in the first round of all mock drafts when you look at the baseball mock drafts that are will be coming up shortly. But this player is not in the top 10 of the ones that I've seen, and I think he's going to be, of all the guys that we've seen, Jack Caglione certainly will be good in the majors. Charlie Condon I expect to be good because they're just pure power hitters. But this guy to me, it has it all, and that's Christian Moore for Tennessee, the second baseman. He hit for the cycle against FSU. So then and there, so for people who don't know, single, double, triple, and a home run. And then this season, he hit 33 home runs alone. He had a school record 60 home runs between the last 2 years. And I read stories about him of just how maniacal he is, how hard he works. And obviously he knows the game of baseball just so well too. You could watch that last night. He's trying to calm the pitchers down and everything. So to me, watch out for Christian Moore in addition to the other guys that we've talked about, certainly the FSU guys, James Tibbs and Max Smith. And then, like I said, Cags and Charlie Condon from Georgia as well.
It'll be fun. I think that because, and I don't know what it was about this College World Series. Like you said, it was one of the more fun.
The games were just all so close.
And how many walk-offs did we have?
Right.
And the
Florida,
bottom of the
State,
ninth.
Georgia. Well, Georgia didn't make it to Omaha.
We also have the
but
relative because we had so many teams
Yeah.
close, obviously, in it. But because of that, it adds this extra layer of now you're paying attention to more of these players that are going to be drafted. And last year, obviously, Paul Skeens was somebody we talked a ton about. But that was like the main person that everyone was kind of talking about going to the next level and playing in Major League Baseball. But you just rattled off 5, 6, 7 guys that
easily,
most people are talking about, and I think that it's not the normal year of where we're like, oh, here's 7 guys that we're looking forward to watching in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing, this would be my one criticism is I just looked at the Baseball America final rankings for college baseball. Obviously, Tennessee's 1, Texas A&M's 2. You'd expect that.
Yeah.
Well, then I expected Florida State to be 3 and 4 in either order. Probably Florida State 3rd, Florida 4th. That is not how they have it. They have Kentucky 3rd, North Carolina 4th. FSU knocked out North Carolina. Florida knocked out Kentucky to be the final 4 teams standing in Omaha. I guess the criticism for Florida would be, well, the regular season wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But what does it matter when you've gotten hot in the postseason?
When you made the run that you did.
And FSU had a tremendous regular season and a really good run in the postseason. And of course, FSU fans will still argue, had that one check swing been called properly, that he didn't check it, FSU beats Tennessee early on, and maybe the rest of their
So why do you
time in Omaha is
think
different.
that?
They give reasons like, oh, Kentucky finished this and whatever, but I think it's just they think of the regular season mattering more. But again, I don't know why for FSU. Kentucky, and North
because
Carolina,
if they had the season they did.
so Kentucky won the SEC regular or the actual tournament, and so I guess that's why. But I don't care what your argument is.
Yeah.
I think that your rankings are
the
silly.
final
at that
4
point
teams in the
time.
College World Series should probably be the 4 best teams.
Yeah, because what if I did football rankings and Alabama and Texas weren't in the final 4?
Yeah.
Everyone would say that's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard because they were the final 4 teams standing. If you did an NCAA men's basketball or women's basketball and the final 4 teams weren't your top 4, you're getting it wrong.
Yeah, well, and there's even the NFL, when they do like postseason rankings, it's going to be the 4 conference championship teams, unless there's some weird fluky year where someone gets injured in the playoff, like the quarterback gets injured in the playoff and they don't think it's that. But when you're talking about a team that goes all the way, the 4 best teams in whatever the league is usually are the 4 best teams. So that definitely weird.
Yeah, and if I'm an FSU fan, again, like watching last night, I guess if you were FSU, you wanted Tennessee to win because that's the team that knocked you out. But at the same time,
sometimes
you thought
it's
you should have beaten them.
Do not win.
Yeah, so and maybe FSU fans at that point were like, I'm not watching college baseball anymore.
Yeah.
Once my team got knocked out, I'm over it. I'm looking forward to next year. And so now, like we talked about yesterday, this is the time of year where you're going to be following on Twitter or X as to who your team is getting out of the transfer portal. And Florida obviously doing really well at that so far. LSU is doing really well at that. FSU will also, I'm sure, be really good in that realm too, because Link Jarrett did that last year.
And we talked a ton about, too, Florida State. 5 kids from the Jacksonville area that were on Florida State this year, and Florida had nobody, but we've already heard about multiple guys, local guys who have committed to Florida now. So obviously Kevin O'Sullivan's coming back, trying to get some local guys, which you love to see that, not only for like our area and having the guys to cheer for because they're local, but also I feel like winning the recruitment in Florida is such a big deal, especially the way that Florida State looks, the direction it looks like they're going.
Absolutely. So 2 things on baseball. 1, we will be at the Jumbo Shrimp game tomorrow, 1-1 Financial Ballpark. The first pitch is 12:05, and we have a special guest with that first pitch. We'll tell you more about that. Taylor and I will be there 12:05. We'll be there from noon to 2, plus after that. But looking forward to that. And then as far as baseball is concerned, Robert Flores will join us at 12:45 from MLB Network. So we'll get it to Major League Baseball. When we return, Taylor has a tangent. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Daniel Murphy on my hometown station here in Jacksonville, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the high wall? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Hurricane season is here. Protect your property from parking lot floods with Duck Duck Rooter. Our VACCON team specializes in storm drain maintenance, keeping your property safe and secure. Schedule service now. 904-862-6769.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rollie.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 1st, 2024.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Is this one of your jams, Taylor?
This is a band called All Time Low.
Okay.
I listened to them a ton, obviously, in high school. That's what I play on here a lot, is all the bands I listened to in high school. But, yeah, they were one of my favorites. Not as much anymore. Like, they got a little too poppy for me, but back in the day where they were more like this. And, yeah, so I added this at some point to the list.
For people who don't know, we have a playlist that we created when we first started the show, and we all had music to it. I take a lot of music off of it because once I hear it, like, more than twice, I'm like, nope, we gotta refresh the playlist. But yeah, so you like more of the alternative punk and some country. I like pretty much all country, and Mia's, I think she's pretty much country with some
poppy,
pop, and then some pop mixed in as well. Mia is on vacation. She'll be back with us next week. Right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So there's a lot of fun storylines that we are going to be able to follow when it comes to this NFL season coming up. A lot of big trades this offseason that we're going to be able to see. You know, which one works for the new team, which one doesn't when it comes to quarterbacks, wide receivers, pass rushers. We've seen it all this offseason. And then obviously there's other storylines when it comes to guys like, Joe Burrow coming off an injury, Aaron Rodgers coming off an injury. There's just a lot of fun things to kind of pay attention to as training camp comes. But The Athletic wrote this article, and it was interesting to me because it's who are the NFL's underrated and overrated teams. And some of these I just strongly disagree with, so that's why I wanted to make it my tangent today. And so the first one on their underrated list is one of the ones that I personally disagree with. So they kind of go through, obviously, explanations of why they think they're underrated or overrated. And so for this one, they have the Atlanta Falcons as underrated. I don't think people are underrating the Falcons. I think that people's argument this whole offseason of why they drafted Michael Penix was you got Kirk Cousins and you have a really good football team and you were in the place to win, so why would you waste that high draft pick on a quarterback when you were already in a place to win? So not saying that because I actually think they're going to be a good team, a good football team this season. So it's odd to me. I just don't think they are looked at as an underrated team, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you think people think they have higher expectations of them. The tricky part is that division.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's where they're coming from as far as underrated is people expect the Bucs to win the NFC South again. I don't think people expect anything from the Panthers.
Yeah.
And I don't think people expect anything from the Saints. So it's really a two-horse race, but people don't talk about the Falcons winning the division. So maybe from that perspective.
Well, and it's interesting to me, too, because it's like you're banking on Baker having another season like last year for them to be able to do that. Obviously, you have guys like Mike Evans and the defense. They've kind of fixed some pieces to make it work. Vita Vea, I was speaking on him a few weeks ago of how like he's lost some weight and bulked up. So I feel like that defense could be dangerous. But to me, it's not like a shoe-in. Like it's not the Chiefs in their division or the Bengals or the Bills or anything like that. So that's just one of the ones that I disagreed with. They have the Arizona Cardinals as an underrated. That one I could see. I think that a lot of people just don't have a whole lot of confidence in Kyler Murray just because of the way the last couple seasons have gone. So I could see them not being very high on them. Their reasoning of this, it says it's easy to get overlooked when you're in the same division as the 49ers. So that's one of the ones that they're definitely looking at the division when it comes to it.
I can understand that for sure but I wouldn't put them as underrated. I would put them as low expectations because no one expects them not only to win the division. No one expects them, I would think, to even have a double-digit win total when it comes to this year. The Bengals conversation as far as winning the division is tricky because the Ravens...
That division.
You've got the Steelers, you've got the Ravens, obviously, and the Browns somewhere in there. Like that is, to me, one of the best divisions in all of the NFL.
Which that's the next underrated on their list is the Bengals. And they said a healthy Joe Burrow, the return of top receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, upgraded offensive line, reimaged offense after the evaluation of quarterback coach Dan Pitcher to the coordinator. Bengals seem to have a good shot at reclaiming their spot among the AFC's elite. They might pose the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs' quest to win a third straight Super Bowl. I think that when Joe Burrow's healthy, the Cincinnati Bengals are always going to be dangerous, in my opinion. I think we have to start having the conversation, though, is Joe Burrow going to be able to stay healthy?
Yeah, and obviously he's proven that he is not going to be year in and year out. For the season that he was healthy, they went to the Super Bowl, but he's had season-ending injuries twice already in his young career. And so he's been in the league 4 seasons, right? And 2 out of those 4, he's been hurt. So, yeah, the Bengals are really talented, but to me, they're not underrated because I would say
they're one of the better teams in the league when Joe's healthy.
It's between the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, and the Ravens as to the 4 best teams in the AFC.
Yes. And so, that's why this list I was kind of confused on. Their next one, they have the Green Bay Packers. Again, we're sitting here talking about like people have Jordan Love in the top 5 of their quarterbacks right now. They're talking about him getting a contract possibly more than what Trevor Lawrence got after 1 season of being a starter there in Green Bay. I think maybe part of it is the division thing. Again, a lot of people just kind of had the Lions of being the best team, and the Green Bay is just kind of fighting with the Lions pretty much to be that team that's going to be able to take the NFC North. But they talk a lot about Jordan Love. In addition, they got Josh Jacobs. I'm super high. I love Josh Jacobs. He's honestly one of my favorite running backs in the league. So that will be interesting because I feel like they got rid of Aaron Jones and everyone was kind of like, that's a weird decision to do because Aaron Jones was one of the better running backs also when healthy in the league, but then they replaced him with Josh Jacobs. So it seems like they're okay with that. But again, to me, I wouldn't consider them an underrated team because all we've talked about this whole offseason is how good Jordan Love was towards the end of last season and will probably be.
Yeah, congratulations to Jordan Love on getting engaged recently over in Italy. You can get past the Packer hate.
I don't hate him yet.
Right, I can understand that. Yeah, I certainly don't think the Packers are underrated. If anything, by the way, the Lions might be overrated is how I view that division, just because of the fact that Jordan is young with a lot more potential, and Jared Goff, while really good, I feel like we've seen him reach his ceiling. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think. And so, yeah, I think the Packers, that's going to, not to talk about divisions, that's going to be another fun one, because also what are the Vikings? And I'm sure there's a lot of teams, Vikings included, Saints maybe, we don't really know what they're going to do. And that would be a whole different category, not underrated or overrated.
Yeah, and when you have, the Vikings have that quarterback situation that's so interesting because Sam Darnold, I feel like nobody really has any confidence in Sam Darnold, but is J.J. McCarthy ready to go in and start right away? A lot of people say no, and from what I've heard out of camp, he has not looked very good at Vikings camp whatsoever, and a lot of people are saying they expect Sam Darnold to start because they just don't think J.J. McCarthy will be ready. So how many wins does that give them? You have some of the best weapons when it comes to, obviously, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Hawkinson. So they have enough there, but the quarterback has to be, I think, better than average to be able to win, especially in that division.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh didn't do J.J. McCarthy any favors when he said he's the best quarterback in this draft class. And so I feel like that ratcheted up expectations for McCarthy. And other people had him kind of rising on their draft boards as well. But to me, you're in a great situation if Sam Darnold is serviceable, if he can be a game manager. But when was the last time he played for a while?
Yeah. Has he ever managed? Because I'm not totally sure.
Right. I feel like when we talk about quarterbacks with a lot of turnovers, I feel like he's one of those guys that...
I just think that Sam's also... He's not one of the guys, because sometimes Trey Lance, for example. Trey Lance is such an interesting conversation, I think, that we don't have this conversation, I feel like, enough. The guy barely got a shot. I mean, he got injured week 1 2 years ago, and it was pretty much just like he sucks. But in reality, at the end of last season, the season before that, when he had to fill in, he actually had some decent games. And everyone was like, okay, we may have something out of Trey Lance. That's why the Niners decided to start Trey Lance that next season. And literally week 1 against the Bears, he gets hurt and leaves the game and missed the entire season, or the majority of the season. I don't think he ended up coming back. And then everyone just was like, done, we give up. Trey Lance sucks. And so that's such an interesting thing. Sam Darnold's in a different realm, I think, where Sam Darnold's had multiple chances and he hasn't been able to take advantage of them.
Yeah, certainly way more experience. 3 seasons with the Jets for Sam Darnold, 2 with the Panthers, and then obviously, like you mentioned, last year with the 49ers. 63 touchdowns, 56 interceptions in his career. Like I said, high interception percentage. But I think that's going to be the fun part is Sam Darnold does get the chance to prove whether he should be the franchise quarterback or not. All right, we'll get it back to baseball when we return. Robert Flores will join us from MLB Network. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
You can find 1010XL on any social media platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. At 1010XL.
It's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker, card games, and hospitality. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with poker games of all limits and easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And it's not just poker. With delicious dining, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com and ante up for fun.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Did you take Awaken 180 up on dropping 40 pounds by the 4th of July? If you did, next week you'll reach that goal, so congrats. And if you didn't call Awaken 180, why not do it now? Fast weight loss, easy weight loss, and then free support for life.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over 3,000
$1,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
1010XL Weekly is out now. Mia here, and text the word weekly to subscribe to our new 1010XL newsletter and for a chance to win Jaguars and concert tickets. Get an inside look at local sports, trending players, station info, and chances to win prizes all year long.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 25th, 1988, MLB Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. played his 1,000th consecutive career game, all for the Baltimore Orioles.
If you're a veteran, listen up. Did you know that you can access up to 100% of your home's equity right now? Hey, Prosser here. You can do it with Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program. You can get 30, 50, 100 grand or more and use that money to pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, or maybe use the cash to do that home improvement project. Veterans love working with Loan Pronto because they make it easy. No junk fees, no hassle. They can unlock that cash in your home's equity in a matter of weeks. Don't keep paying insane rates on credit cards. There's a smarter alternative with Loan Pronto. Get more info and start the process now at loanpronto.com. Or if your current VA loan rate is over 6.5%, Loan Pronto can get you in a streamlined refinance with a lower rate right now with no income verification and no appraisal. Lower your monthly payment big time. Loan Pronto makes it so easy for veterans. So call now, 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1666781, subject to lender approval.
Hey guys, this is David Garrard, and I want to tell you about Clearwater Irrigation. They put my new sprinkler system in at my new home at Jack's Beach, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, hey, John.
What's up, Dave? You know what this means. You're going to have to sing.
Man, I can't sing.
Then you'll fit right in, buddy. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. Hit it, Dave.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
I got more proactive with my health by doing a total body MRI scan at Ackerman Cancer Center. The MRI scanned the most common cancer areas for men and a whole lot more. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn about total body MRI and use code GREG15 to get special pricing.
Hey, David here with Royal Pest Services. Men, are you struggling in the bedroom? Do spiders and roaches have you scared? Visit RoyalPestServices.com and let us help you get that man card back. Guaranteed results on our first visit.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com.
It's the coolest week to save during the summer fan sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Buy one fan, save 10%. Buy two, save 15%. Buy three or more and save 20% off all fans at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Showroom near the Avenues.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Mia on vacation, she'll be back next week. But we welcome in our first guest to today's show, Robert Flores of MLB Network. Robert, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so I have a Cubs fan in studio, but I have to ask about that Giants victory over the Cubs last night as the Giants won 5-4 because it was the Giants' first game back in San Fran after Willie Mays passed away. Robert, what did you think of all of the Giants wearing number 24?
Yeah, I thought it was appropriate. I thought it was a really nice touch. I was lucky enough to be in Birmingham last week for the Giants and Cardinals, which was a planned event to pay tribute to the Negro Leagues and also pay tribute to Willie Mays. Unfortunately, Willie passed away two days before that game on Thursday, but he was there. You know, his presence was certainly felt. And it was a bittersweet coincidence that his passing came so close to right before that game in Birmingham. But you know, last night it was a win that it's like I said, it felt appropriate. Their first home game back, everyone wearing 24. So to win in comeback fashion, definitely a big win and a nice touch by the San Francisco Giants.
And I did wonder, since, like you said, he passed away 2 days before and he had put out that statement on Monday that he was hoping to be there or wasn't able to make it, but glad he was still around. I wondered if that did bring more attention to Rickwood Field in that game.
Well, I think that, you know, Willie's health had been in decline for a little bit. And I think that it had been sort of generally understood that it would have been unlikely that he would have been able to make the game. But with his passing, you're right. It did bring. That's why I called it a bittersweet coincidence, because it brought more attention not only to the game and not only to the Negro Leagues, but also to Willie Mays himself. And if you look at the numbers, and they almost don't do him justice. Up until his passing, he was the greatest living ball player in the history of the game. And he meant so much to so many people. And so, yeah, it did bring more attention, not only to the game, but just how great and impactful his career was.
Yeah, I agree with you, Robert. I think that like you said, there are not enough words or numbers to even describe what Willie Mays meant to the game of baseball. I want to, as she mentioned, I'm a Cubs fan, and so on the other side of that game last night, before we get to some of the good teams and some of the maybe more local teams, the Cubs have just struggled very badly this season, and it's really frustrating, honestly. They've blown a ton of late games. They strand runners constantly. Every player that previously you felt like you could at least get 260, 270 out of is batting 200. Guys like Dansby Swanson is having atrocious years in the field. So what is going on in Chicago? And we can talk about both teams in Chicago.
Yeah, it's very odd. You know, I'm of the believer, and you mentioned their inability to hit with runners in scoring position. I believe for the first month of the season, the Chicago Cubs were number one in that category as far as being most successful to come up with base hits and drive runners in. Since that time, I believe they're dead last, if not second to last. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Does it mean they just forgot? That they don't try as hard? No, of course it doesn't. So I think there's some other factors that go into that inability to come through with runners in scoring position than just flat out ability or want to. So if you're a Cub fan, you're hoping that turns a little bit. You're thinking, okay, maybe we weren't as good as we were in the first month of the season, and maybe we're not as bad as we've shown recently. So if that turns, you're okay. The thing that concerns me the most about the Cubs, in addition to the offense, is the bullpen, specifically the back end. Hector Neris has often been called on to close games. He's a setup guy. That's where he's been most effective. That's where he was in Houston when they won the World Series a couple of years ago. So he's had great success in that role. So I'm not sure the closing role is one that is right for him. So they're going to have to look at they're going to have to look at the trade market to try to fortify that bullpen. The problem is there's so many teams, especially in the National League, that are in kind of jam-packed for those playoff spots, that it's definitely a seller's market. But we're still about 3 weeks away before that has to happen. So we'll see. But I haven't lost hope for the Cubs yet, just because I think that division is still winnable.
Robert, what I love right now is this youth movement of guys that, like, for instance, two guys we saw in the College World Series last year, Rangers outfielder Wyatt Langford, Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens. They were playing this time last year, and now they've gotten several, games under their belt already in major leagues this year. I love that we're starting to see guys get up faster than before.
Yeah, I think it speaks to a couple of things. One, obviously their ability, but two, when you play in these big-time conferences like the SEC, Wyatt Langford, I believe, played in the ACC. No,
he was in Florida. Yeah,
he's in Florida, so he's also in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That's arguably the most premier college baseball conference in America. Those games are played more often than not with big-time stakes. When it's Florida, LSU weekend series, or it's Tennessee against Vanderbilt, that's high-level baseball. So these guys come out of these programs already used to the expectation, used to playing at a high level. They're obviously getting excellent coaching and training at those particular programs. But Paul Skeens, for me, I know he's only pitched a handful of games. He's got to be in the All-Star game for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That's probably going to raise some eyebrows. Maybe the veterans would get their noses bent out of shape a little bit. But that's what the All-Star game is, an exhibition. And I want to see the best of the best. And I think Paul Skeens has emerged as one of the best pitchers in the National League already. And he's a name that attracts a lot of eyeballs. The Riz God, if you will, is one of his nicknames. He's got the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. So, yeah, I'd love to see him in Arlington taking on the game's best there at the All-Star game.
He's definitely been incredible to watch, and even a Cubs fan watching the Pirates have someone like that is a little frustrating, but at the same time, watching players like that in baseball is so much fun. Robert, when we're talking about a team that a lot of fans here in Jacksonville root for, in the Atlanta Braves, a bit of a skid for a little bit, had some people worried, playing better baseball, just took 2 of 3 against the Yankees. What are your thoughts on the Braves and kind of expectations for the rest of the season for them as we're approaching this almost halfway mark?
I would be surprised if they caught the Phillies and won the division. I would be shocked, however, if the Braves didn't make the playoffs. And we have seen, especially with this expanded playoff format, just get in. Just get in and see what happens. I don't think anyone at this time would have thought that the Arizona Diamondbacks would be representing the National League in the World Series. So there's a lot of baseball left. Like I said, I don't think they catch the Phillies. I think the Phillies, for me, are the odds-on favorite to win the World Series. If I had to pick right now, I would pick the Philadelphia Phillies to win the series. But a lot can happen, and I'm not ready to count out the Braves. Yes, they do not have Ronald Acuna Jr. Yes, they don't have Spencer Strider. But this is a clubhouse that has a lot of talented dudes, a lot of prideful dudes that have won a lot of games. So I'm not ready to say that the Braves can't make a deep run into the postseason, that they can't make the World Series, because also they have Alex Anthopoulos, who is one of the best general managers in the game. And he is very savvy when it comes to making moves. It was his trades back in 2021 that played a huge part in the Braves ultimately winning the World Series. So don't give up on the Braves just yet. Still a lot of baseball to be played, and they still got a lot of games that they can win.
Robert, which division is better, the AL East or the NL Central?
That is a good question. I think I would go American League East because I think there's more firepower, if you will. You've got the Orioles, you've got the Yankees, and don't sleep on the Red Sox. The National League Central, there's more parity. And it's a little bit more competitive because I think the margin between the contenders is razor thin. So I would lean American League East. But if you're asking me which division could be most exciting, which could be most unpredictable, give me the National League Central.
We're talking to Robert Flores, host of MLB Central. I have to ask you about the team you cheer for, Astros. As your team, AL West looked all Seattle for a minute, but now Astros go 7-3 in their last 10. Are they buyers or sellers?
If you look at the standings, I believe they're 2 games below 500. I think right now they're 5 games back of the division, 4 in the wild card. And if you listen to their owner, Jim Crane, and their general manager, Dana Brown, they have been pretty adamant that they are not going to be selling, that they are going to be buyers at the deadline. Now, if they decided to sell, and granted, we have, like I said, about 3 weeks before the deadline, and things could change. But if they do decide to sell, they certainly have some attractive pieces that other contenders would like to partake in. That being said, I would expect, just considering where they're at right now in the standings and considering the talk from the organization, I think they're going to add. The problem is, going back to the Cubs, it's a seller's market.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the Astros have the prospect capital to make or to land a significant piece. Their system is one of the worst in all of baseball because it's been stripped during this run for various other major league pieces to help with their postseason run. So I picked the Mariners to win the division coming into this season. I picked the Astros as a wild card, but also don't sleep on the Texas Rangers. You mentioned Wyatt Langford. That lineup is really good, and they just got Max Scherzer back, and they could be getting Jacob deGrom and Tyler Mahle back as well.
Robert, final question. Are you more surprised the Rays are below 500 or that the Royals are above 500?
Boy, that's a good question. That is a very good question. I think I would lean – you know what? I would lean the Tampa Bay Rays. I felt pretty good about the Kansas City Royals and their offseason. I love what they did, adding some veteran pitching. Seth Lugo has been unbelievable. I love Bobby Witt Jr. He's arguably one of the best players. I mean, he's a top 5 player in the game. There's no argument about it for me. The Tampa Bay Rays, that one surprises me a little bit. But Tampa Bay has been, they're traditionally so unconventional. They take risks. They go in directions that you didn't expect. So I'm not ready to count them out yet. Yandy Diaz, Randy Arozarena, they got off to such a slow start at the plate. Now they're starting to pick it up a little bit. So who's not to say that the Rays don't have a run in them? We'll see.
Well, Robert, like you mentioned, there's a lot of baseball left. That means we'll have to dial up your phone number again soon.
Absolutely. And I'm a little disappointed we didn't get a chance to talk about the reigning and defending AFC South champion Houston Texans. I got a lot of take.
We'll have to have you back on for that one then, because that's definitely a hot topic down here.
All right, good.
Thank you so much. There he goes, Robert Flores, MLB Network, formerly of ESPN. And we'll have to get his hot takes on the Texans. I didn't even know he wanted to get into football. We'll have to do that next time. All right, we've got our highlights when we return, as well as a giveaway. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
1010XL is here. 1010 AM. 1010XL is there. 92.5 FM. 1010XL is everywhere. 1010XL is where you want to be. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Bolt City Heating and Air is here to keep you cool this summer. Anytime, any day, whenever you need fast, reliable air conditioning service. Their friendly technicians have fully stocked work vans, so they can get your AC done on site the same day. Rely on a family-owned Jacksonville-grown company this summer to keep your home cooling system working smarter, not harder. Experience the bold difference. Visit BoldCityAC.com to schedule your service appointment. BoldCityAC.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Join us tonight at 7:05. Tomorrow is a day game on ViStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday featuring Heal Foundation and the Miracle League. Get the weekend started with Coors Light Thirsty Thursday, and we'll have fireworks Friday and Saturday. And our biggest show of the year, Wednesday, July 3rd. Baseball all weekend. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Affordable, family fun.
We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino, though, is here to change the game. Mia here, and you can dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use. I just go to mybookie.ag and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands, and yes, it's true, you do not even have to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie, and don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics, and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Enter the Snickers Ice Cream Chill All Summer Sweepstakes for your chance to win a summer supply of Snickers ice cream, a meet and greet with our head coach, and a VIP training camp experience during Jaguars training camp. For more information, please visit jaguars.com/sweepstakes. The Snickers Ice Cream Chill All Summer Sweepstakes ends 11:59 on Monday, July 8th. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotional period is June 4th to July 8th. Total ARV of prizes is $14.20. Prize details and winner selection date specified in official rules. Sponsor Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC, 1 Everbank Stadium Drive, Jacksonville, Florida, 32202. Odds of winning depend on total number of entries received.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. After the Jaguars locked up their franchise quarterback last week, Trevor Lawrence addressed the media to speak on the expectations he has for this talented roster and how the progress and chemistry this team has made this offseason will translate to on-the-field success. He also spoke about his hunger for a deep postseason run.
Honestly, this is the best team this year coming up that by far that we've had here, just from a talent perspective and how we're gelling together this early. Everything is going really well. So I have really high expectations, and I think once you've been to the playoffs and you've kind of felt what that's like, and we feel like that's where we belong every year, and to make a deep playoff run and to win a championship. So that's the goal, and anything short of that is going to be a disappointment.
It's 92 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Mia O'Brien on vacation this week. She'll return next week. It is 1:04. That means people are having lunch all around town, and other people might be starving out there, Taylor.
Are they hungry?
They need lunch. And us ladies, we're going to give them lunch.
Yes, let's go ahead and do that. So lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. I think that sounds good. Caller number 3 at 641-1010, and we'll give you 2 gift cards to Chick-fil-A, so lunch on the ladies.
Love it. All right, RJ. It's time for our Heels highlights. Take it away.
Now, Heels highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Somebody wrote a clip.
Yandy Diaz takes Paul Skeens deep for a lead-off home run.
His 8th start with the Pirates begins with the ball hit down the right field line. And a home run. Yandy Diaz hits the foul pole. First pitch, home run, 1-0 Rays.
JJ Redick on misconceptions. He's looking forward to eliminating as head coach.
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a like, honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
Paul Morris gets the cup mid-interview and then gives one of the most heartfelt interviews you will ever see.
You look like you said something to him. What'd you say?
Oh, I've been chasing that for a while. It was unkind words about how hard she was to catch.
What makes this team special?
I got off the phone with them the summer I took the job, and I kept telling my wife, these guys are different. It's the way they treat each other. They love each other. It starts with Barkov, and it filters down. So we have 9 new guys on this year, and then we brought in Okposo and Tarasenko, and you can't tell they haven't been here 10 years. So they got nothing to do with the coach, nothing to do with that. That room has been special since day one.
Taylor, I'm going to guess that the last clip was yours.
It was me.
Panthers head coach Paul Maurice.
Yes. It was such an emotional moment. And, like, if you watch the clip, he's holding, like, in the middle of the interview, they walk up, they hand him the Stanley Cup. He grabs it. He's, like, whispering to the Stanley Cup, holding in his hands, and kind of, like, whispers something to it. So she asked, what were you saying? And he was like, I was just giving her a hard time of how hard it was to catch her. I loved that. Like, it's so fantastic. But and I mentioned this earlier about how emotional that moment in hockey is, and I was tearing up. I'm like, I don't care about either team, but watching those moments for these guys, and it showed. Obviously, you start showing parents in the crowds, and you start seeing their reactions. And there's former players in the crowds who never got to hoist a cup, and they're watching that. So there's just so many emotions attached to it, and I think that. One of the things we always talk about, for example, in the NFL is like the Super Bowl and how it's not super accessible for the diehard fans to go to because it's so expensive. NHL is so accessible to be able to go to those games and see your team be able to raise the cup and go through those moments. So I think that, to me, adds a whole nother layer because it's like true fans there. It's not just a layer of celebrities, for this event that's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and a corporate thing too.
Yes. And so it's just so fun. So yeah, I love that clip because you could just tell he was on cloud 9, just absolutely. And I love too, it was just like right in the middle of the interview, and she's like, it's fine. Like, you just won the Stanley Cup. I know that's the most important thing right now.
Was that Emily Kaplan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's
does a really
fantastic.
Good job.
Yeah. I appreciated her coverage this year. The Panthers, at one point, the fans were singing Living on a Prayer very loudly, obviously, throughout the arena. Do they have any connection to Bon Jovi?
I'm honestly not sure where that
He's a
came
Patriots guy, like a New England guy. Like, I'm sure he's a Bruins guy. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I honestly am not sure of the tie. Sometimes those things just start like the goal song for the Blackhawks is the Chelsea Dagger, like the da-da-da-da-da-da. And so that just like became a thing. It wasn't like some super significant thing. It just was the song, and now everyone sings it. So maybe it was just something like that where it started one time, played at a game, and everyone started singing it, and so they made it like their song to sing.
Yeah, everything becomes a tradition, I guess, organically. But I didn't.
It's
know
like at Florida.
Yeah,
but the connection, obviously, with
Tom Petty,
Petty,
he was from Gainesville. That I won't back down. Yeah, I was just curious watching that game, but we were talking about this off air as far as the difficulty of, or the cruelty, I should say, of sports. Like those Oilers guys worked their butts off. The 49ers worked so incredibly hard. The Mavs worked so incredibly hard. And you get there, you get so close.
So close.
And to being remembered forever as a champion, as the winner of the Stanley Cup, winner of the NBA championship and the Super Bowl. And you get that close and you don't get to go home a champion. Like the amount of hours, the sweat equity, all of the time that you've spent in your whole life getting to that moment. And you're not guaranteed to get back there. Now, the 49ers have been twice to the Super Bowl. They did not win, obviously, either time. And then you have other teams that get to win it multiple times, other players that get to win it multiple times. That's so cruel.
I know. Well, and then we've talked about it, too, with the Major League Baseball, NHL, and NBA. there's been a lot of different winners. So in those leagues, it does kind of feel like you get there and that's your chance. And the chances of you getting back there are very, very low. And it's like that in the NFL too, but we do have more repeats, I feel like, over there. But still, you're right there, and you're about to break like what feels like a curse of 30-plus years of Canadian teams not winning, and it's a 2-1 game. You have control of the puck the whole third period, it feels like, and not able to do it. It just had to be, and it was showing them, like players crying, sitting on the bench, and it's so emotional. And that's what we talk about, the emotion side of winning, but the emotional side of the losing in that moment too, it just has to be so disheartening.
And it's funny because I'm anti the super teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like when people jump ship and they go to a team just to win a championship. Yet I realize the importance and the value of winning a championship.
Yeah.
I just like it when it's
like,
done.
let me get that ring.
Yeah, I like it when it's done, I guess, in more of a natural fashion.
Speaking of having teams that get like players that jump to try to just win championships, the Lakers, RJ.
Yeah.
Like this Redick. How do you feel about this comment from JJ Redick?
He certainly won the press conference. I will say he certainly did. He attacked the Dan Hurley 11th hour. He may be the head coach. Rob Pelinka really tried to shift his way out of that question. JJ said, no, we can talk about it. My feelings weren't hurt by that. I have no prior NBA coaching experience, but I do know that I want to be an NBA head coach. That seemed to be the quote. I don't care, trying to quiet any misconceptions that there may be about me. I want to coach the LA Lakers. This is what I signed up for. I know that winning a championship is the expectation, and that's what I am looking to do, as well as develop the young talent that's there. So he certainly won the press conference. In Minnie's opinion, it's just now time to get to work. It's going to be an interesting 72 hours for the LA Lakers with the NBA draft, free agency, and building a staff for JJ Redick, a coaching staff.
So RJ, when we talked a lot yesterday about the expectations at Alabama and how high the expectations are there. Do you think Lakers fans are still at that level to where it's that championship or bust mentality?
I think when you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, of course it is. What you need to do now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, is put talent around that roster, and you do have a few pieces that are there. Do they go after a third star? Well, you have to find someone that's going to be willing to make a trade with you, and if you're going to have to give up the 17th pick as well as other pieces to get that third star, if that's the direction in which you want to go, you have to be understanding of that. If you are saying we want to develop our young talent, kind of like how Boston did, and build for the future that way, let that be known to Laker fans that, hey, this is going to be patient, and just give us kind of a grace period, but we're going to figure that out. Laker fans are so spoiled that we don't give anybody time to figure that out. But like I said, I mean, JJ said all the right things. And I do think that the LA Lakers are going to try to put a team around their young star and elder statesman to try to win a championship this season, or at least be in the mix. Do I give them any chance to win the ring this year? I don't. But, stranger things have happened, so we'll see.
Stranger things have happened. That is true. Yeah, it does feel like we're seeing kind of the end of LeBron's career, and I saw that the Lakers might give him the max contract, and that does seem kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, when he's nearing 40 years old, but certainly you would know better than I would.
Yeah, RJ, because we were talking a little bit about like what the NBA is going to do to build this new face, like once LeBron's gone, and we went over a few names of who could it possibly be, and we had the Luka conversation, but I think the way that series went, a lot of people are holding pause on that. But if LeBron is out in the next couple years, RJ, who do you think replaces him with the face of the NBA?
I don't think the NBA even knows. Sometimes you have to want to be the face of the NBA. You look at guys like Giannis. I think Giannis just says, look, I won at the game of life. My parents, humble beginnings. We had to move to Greece. I'm selling sunglasses, to people just to make money. and now I'm in the NBA. I'm a world champion, and I have generational wealth for my family. Being the face of the NBA is the least of my concern. That's a guy like him. A guy like Anthony Edwards may welcome that. He may say, hey, I want to be the face of the NBA. I want to be, that guy. And he could do that in this year's Olympics. If he has a great Olympic outing for Team USA, they may start looking at a guy like Anthony Edwards saying, this is the leader of the new generation. You have a lot of names. You throw out Luka Doncic. I think the NBA wants Luka to at least win one ring first before they give him the crown. But the NBA, I don't believe, even knows as of yet who is the face of their association right now, currently.
I agree with you. I don't know that we do know who can, if anyone can, one person can replace LeBron. It may end up being few different guys who end up taking that on, because we all know Steph Curry and LeBron were kind of the faces of the NBA there for a little bit together. All right, the other highlight you heard, that was Greg Brown on the call as the Pirates were playing the Rays this past Sunday. And the very first pitch...
Frank might be mad at you.
Yeah, he might be. That's why I mentioned it yesterday to kind of soften him up, hopefully. But it was just cool because it was the very first pitch that Paul Skeens threw out, and Yanni Diaz took it yard.
Yeah.
So that part was cool. Whether you're a Rays fan or not, it's more... We know how talented Paul Skeens is, and on the very first pitch, he was able to hit the home run. And so it will be so fun, like we were just talking with Robert Flores. And if you love baseball, go back certainly on demand if you missed our interview with him to end the 12 o'clock hour. But just talking about him and just how incredibly talented Paul Skeens is. And I saw a story that said Paul Skeens should be on the All-Star team. That does not rankle my feathers. Now, I'm not, I guess, an older veteran and playing in the MLB, but
he's one of the top pitchers in baseball right now. You've got to.
Yeah, and so I think, like we kind of talked about with that whole Caitlin Clark, should she be on the Olympics roster? If she's one of the 12 best players, then she should be. If she's not one of the 12 best players, then she shouldn't be. Paul Skeens is one of the best pitchers. I understand he's only had less than 10 starts to this point in his career. But if you watch him, you realize that when we talked about Garrett Cole being the best pitcher in all of the big leagues, like I think we'll be talking about Paul Skeens in the somewhat near future like that as well.
Yeah, and with baseball too, and we talked about the impact earlier that one player can make, and baseball is one of the interesting ones because you would feel like the starting pitcher is that person who on every single team dictates wins and losses the most, but a lot of cases it's not that. Paul Skeens is a guy who can dictate wins and losses because obviously his velo's hitting 100, 101, 102, 103. It's just hard. Like, it's hard to go up to bat against that, but he also can go 7 innings, and that's hard to find now in Major League Baseball too, where they're pushing guys like, okay, can you get to 4 or 5 innings? Let's max 6 for a lot of guys. So if you're having a guy throw 100 going 7 innings, that is dictating such a massive part of a game.
Yeah, and then, of course, you start to worry about the dreaded phrase, Tommy John.
I know.
Because that's what it feels like we've seen over and over again, is these guys that are throwing gas inning in and inning out, and a lot of them not even going to 7 innings, to your point. And we eventually hear elbow tightness, elbow soreness, forearm issues, and that's the problem that then you worry about. Now, Garrett Cole was one of the few guys that had some sort of soreness in his elbow and yet did not have to have the surgery. So hopefully maybe we had gotten a little impatient in the moment that we saw, and we being obviously not us, but the medical community getting to that point where, as soon as it's an elbow, the surgery is going to be required. Yeah. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe there is going to be a little bit of more patience now that we have seen a guy like Yankees pitcher Garrett Cole be able to go through that and still be able to pitch this season and pitch really well.
Yeah, and another thing too, it's almost getting to the conversation with Tommy John because it's so frequent that we're hearing that word and that surgery now, but they're also coming back quicker, way quicker than they used to. We're hearing like the technology is advancing rapidly. Gibby did a whole segment on it of some of the new technology that they're doing to repair the Tommy Johns when they have Tommy John surgery. And there's guys coming back in like 8-9 months. And that's insane to think about because previously it was like minimum year. But it's almost that same conversation we had with ACLs, and ACL is almost like okay, he tore his ACL, he'll be back next year, no problem. And so is that conversation going to start shifting too, where it's not this like taboo word as much as it used to be?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've got more to do. We are going to check in with Miles Simons of Pro Football Talk at 1:30. Also, efforting for a special guest when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Mess with black and teal, and you'll be black and blue when the day is through. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com and equal opportunity employer.
Every weekend is a Stone Cold Sports Weekend. Hey, Dan Hicken here. Watch for The Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll help you put together your sports weekend. Weekend with Dan brought to you by Stone Core. We do the outdoors better.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn. Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty. A proud partner of the Jaguars. Brackish Vodka is now available at Hurricanes Grill and Wings in Bartram Park.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Tuesday afternoon, and we welcome in Gators legend, Jaguars legend, and Sporting Jack's co-owner Fred Taylor. You hear him every Monday morning on The Drill. Fred, thanks so much for joining the ladies today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me in short notice. How's it going?
Absolutely. We are fantastic. Thanks. We wanted to come to the media availability earlier today, but obviously our show starts at noon. So tell us how you got into learning about soccer.
Well, you guys really missed a great press conference, but I'm sure we'll have many, many more. So soccer, just a sport that I wanted to put my kids into when they were younger. I wanted to give them an opportunity to get into something that they can be active. I went the baseball route, actually the T-ball route, and it was really boring. They would sit in the outfield and just stand around. I'm like, no, we got to stop this. So got into soccer, which is huge, and it's still growing a lot. And, I've been, I haven't been as close as I should have been, but I'm getting back into it now that I'm a part of ownership with Sporting Jack.
Well, Sporting Jack's obviously bringing teams here to Jacksonville, Fred, is exciting for a lot of people, soccer fans. But if you're not a soccer fan, I feel like it's still cool because it gives us a chance to actually watch soccer live and really learn the game. And I feel like for a lot of people, Fred, like you, it gives us an opportunity to learn and love a game that maybe you haven't had the chance to for a while.
Oh, you hit it right on the head. I mean, the Stateside Cup, it's going to showcase two Premier League teams. You have the Wolverhampton Wanderers, and West Ham United, known more so as West Ham. And again, it's about the experience. When I was pitched an opportunity to become part owner of Sporting Jack, the conversation and the message about exclusivity, community, lifting every voice, youth development, those were the things that won me over. And it's an opportunity. And then for me, it's more about the experiences. What experiences can we share with those kids that hope that one day they can grow up to be, amazing athletes? So for me, it was a no-brainer to go out there. But again, for the community to have this opportunity to experience for the first time in Jacksonville 2 English Premier League clubs, I think it's just a great, moment of bringing, the community together. Whether you are a soccer fan or not, I think it'll be a great experience come July 27th.
Fred, watching your kids play sports, does that bring the competitiveness back out in you?
It never left.
It's always there.
Yeah, it never left, but I do take joy in watching them play sports. My thing as a parent, I wanted to make sure that they weren't straddling. If you're going to be in it, be in it. Find something to be passionate about, whether it's sports or not. I just want you to be passionate about something is usually my message to my kids. And for me, trying to master that little white golf ball, that's enough to drive my competitive nature from within. So I've been trying to figure that game out, and it's so much harder than football was.
Fred, the fun part is once you learn the game, the beautiful game as they call soccer, you realize how often it's actually on. We've got Copa America going right now. And like you mentioned, July 27th, Wolves and West Ham will play a friendly here. And you talk about the women's national team also this summer in the Olympics. Like you, all of a sudden you realize like, man, this game of soccer is all around me. And certainly I feel like Ted Lasso also helped bring that game to a lot of people as well. But I would be remiss if I did not ask you today, June 25th, later today, the City Council will vote on the Stadium of the Future renovation. And how exciting, since we do have events like Stateside Cup coming to Everbank Stadium, how exciting is it that we're going to have a brand new stadium here in a few years to bring new events to?
I mean, for me, it's extremely exciting. Just one more tool to make me jealous and wish that I was born 20 years later. I remember when Shad first got the team, they've made some subtle changes, maybe a couple $1 million inside the locker room, and it ended up looking like a spa. You know, they had this brown oak with the waterfall, the oversized chairs, and I was jealous then. And then the pools came and all these other different little renovations. I'm like, okay, then the flex field. Now they got the new facility with the golf simulators and all these other fancy different things. And, you know, I'm like, okay. And now you're talking about a new big stadium. And I'm excited for the city more than anything. I think they deserve it. With the amount of the way technology is evolving, just to be able to sit in the stadium and, you know, you can get so creative with what you can offer the fans with watching them monitors, and you have AI that you can integrate, different ways of ordering food, like just so much that they'll be able to do in a modernized stadium. You're talking about hosting concerts, just being an all-in-one venue. I think is great for the city of Jacksonville as it continues to grow as a city and then evolves in the athletic space with sports. So I think it'll be a one-stop shop, man. So I'm looking forward to hearing the city council and the city leaders say, pass, pass, pass.
Yeah, Fred, I'm sure there's some days, 100-degree rainy days, that Miller Electric Center probably looks pretty nice right now when they can go indoors.
See, you trying to make me jealous? Because I didn't have that. I did not have that luxury. We would get run off the practice field when it was lightning and thunder, and we would have to go in the West Club and do walkthroughs. You know, the luxury they have now is, I don't know if they call it luxury. They still have to practice.
Yeah.
They never had to practice as hard or as much as us. Another thing I was a bit jealous about, too. This turned into a conversation of jealousy by Fred.
I'm sorry.
But go ahead and ask your question. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. When we're talking about the stadium, obviously, so excited. We've had all sorts of talks. A piece of this, though, is during that one season, the Jags will have to go play somewhere else, and it seems like the Orlando, Gainesville are the two options we're really talking about. I'm guessing you like that Gainesville option.
I mean, it only makes sense. You have an opportunity to drive an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half at the most, depends on how fast you go through Waldo. And
yeah, be careful.
I know, right? And then you have, you know, the Gator Nation down there. But it gets tricky because we have a huge following of Bulldogs fans as Jaguars fans, Seminole fans as Jaguars fans. I don't know how they'll feel about sitting in the swamp to watch the Jaguars play, but either case, I think Gainesville is a great destination. They can accommodate with the size of the stadium. You can also sort of recruit a new fan base with the college kids down there. So, but I don't know. It's a toss-up. Hopefully, the decision will be narrowed down so where the Jacksonville fan base can feel, get excited about being able to go and support their team on a local level.
Well, Fred, we really appreciate it. Reminder to everyone, the Stateside Cup comes up July 27th, just over a month away at Everbank Stadium between the Wolves and the West Ham United EPL teams. We so appreciate your time. We know you have to get on a plane, and I think I've told you this before. I only own one jersey in all of my sports fandom. I only own one jersey, and it is your Jaguars jersey, number 28.
Well, we got to make sure we got some ink on there somehow, some way.
That's right.
And let me also add that also on the 27th, we will be hosting a youth clinic for youth development ages 4 to 18, boys and girls, from 5 to 6 p.m. You can go on sportingjacks.com to get more information and check for tickets. So I think including the youth and the rest of the community in that an hour, 2 hours before the match begins is a big deal. So check that out.
All right, sounds good. Thank you again, Fred.
Thank
Take care.
you.
All right, there he goes.
Thank you.
Fred Taylor, Jaguars, legendary running back, also Gators, legendary running back. And again, Stateside Cup comes up July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Let's get it from football to football as we check in with our next guest.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Miles Simmons from Pro Football Talk joins us now. Miles, thanks so much. How are you today?
I'm doing well, but man, how am I going to follow Fred Taylor? Well, what is this? What is this scheduling? I've never been on this station before. Like, oh yeah, let's bring this guy on after Fred Taylor. Oh man, oh, what kind of pressure is this? My God.
Well, we trust that you're not going to fumble the ball, and you're going to be great with us, Miles. We have all the faith in the world.
Oh, I'm going to try, but man, you set me up here, not necessarily in the best way, but I guess we can move on. Let's see where we go.
Let's see, indeed. Well, Trevor Lawrence just signed a contract extension here last week. Would you have paid him when the Jaguars decided to?
Yeah, I think that from the Jaguar standpoint, it makes total sense because, look, quarterbacks don't grow on trees, right? You drafted this one at number 1 overall, and granted, coaching staff different, but I don't think that there's any reason for the Jaguars right now to waver in their belief in Trevor Lawrence. And the thing about quarterback contracts is they're only going to get progressively more expensive. So, if you're the Jaguars, you're in some ways sitting pretty right now, whereas if you are the Miami Dolphins, for instance, you're kind of like, man, Tua Tagovailoa kind of got us over a barrel, and the price of the brick just keeps going up, If you're the Dallas Cowboys and you want to re-sign Dak Prescott, that's another one. You also have the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. He's another guy that's going to command a lot of money. So I think from a timing standpoint, yes, this makes a lot of sense for the Jaguars to pay Trevor Lawrence right now.
Now, Miles, one of the phrases I like is when we're talking about finding if something is an excuse or a reason. And at the end of last season, the Jaguars obviously had a big collapse. And a lot of the things here we kind of focus on is obviously Trevor's injury, but injuries to a lot of the other pieces in the offense when it comes to Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. And then so this offseason, they go a different route, lose Calvin, but sign Gabe Davis. They draft Brian Thomas Jr. Do you think the Jags did enough offensively to help Trevor this upcoming season?
Well, yes and no. I think that one of the things that Trevor Lawrence just has to do is just play better, right? And this is something that he has talked about. He talked about it last week after he signed the deal. It's not just about what the Jaguars can put around him. It's also about what he needs to do in order to improve. And, when you lose your last 5 starts in the season, like that is not going to leave a good taste in your mouth. And the fact that the Jaguars collapsed as they did, obviously is going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But, I think the fact that they still have Doug Peterson, right? You still have Press Taylor. You've got Lawrence now in a system for several years. So he's going to be able to take more of this and put it on himself and take more ownership over it. And that's what you have to do as a quarterback in the National Football League. That's what they're paying him to do, and even though, you got this final year of the rookie deal and then the 5th-year option before really all the new money starts kicking in a couple years later down the road. But once you get that financial security, then it's, okay, as the franchise quarterback, what can you do to elevate your game and then elevate everybody around you? So it's not necessarily just about what's around Lawrence. It's how can Lawrence perform so that he is going to put the Jaguars in better position to win.
And of course, that's when people ask the question, who's calling plays? And we don't have the answer to that at the moment. Which position group do you think, Miles, has the most concern for you as far as the Jaguars go? Do you think it's the offensive line? Do you think it's the secondary with the unknown part there? Do you think it's depth at pass rusher? Do you think it's the turnover, the receiving core? Which one of those?
I do think the receiving core is a bit of a concern. Whenever you lose somebody like Calvin Ridley, who is a guy that can get you 1,000 yards each and every year, despite the fact, right, that he was coming off that suspension, it really didn't look like it last year. And he did seem to have that good chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. I think, turning over with Zay Jones, too. That guy, I think, was underrated and what he was able to do in being a really solid target, as long as he was healthy, of course. But he was a solid target for Trevor Lawrence in the last couple of years. So when you replace that with rookie, like even as a first-round guy or a guy that's highly touted, it makes things a little bit more difficult. So the chemistry has to be there. I think that that's something that Lawrence is going to work through. Certainly, as a guy that has been in the league now, he understands what it is that he needs to do in order to build that chemistry with receivers. But I think, when you're looking at it in that way, and what can the Jaguars do? Well, you have to be more consistent offensively, and I think that, that does go to the receiving core.
Miles, let's take a look at the other hot topic in the AFC South outside of Trevor Lawrence's contract, and that's what the Texans were able to do last season with C.J. Stroud's rookie year. What are your thoughts on that? Are you high on the Texans? Do you think it was a little bit of a luck thing last season, or do you think C.J. Stroud's the real deal?
Well, I think C.J. Stroud is the real deal. I think it was, in some ways, their circumstances were a little bit lucky going down the stretch in the way that, as we were just talking about, look, the Jags had a collapse, and the Texans were able to take advantage of that. But I think, when you have a coach that's young but very good, and you pair that with a good quarterback, young quarterback, and you also have an offensive coordinator who's young but good, that makes them on the rise. And the fact that they could keep a lot of that continuity with the coaching staff, right? Float stays, Johnson staying on as quarterback's coach. That allows you to be able to build and not just say, okay, well, we have to continue this progression, but we're not necessarily doing it in the same way. We have to have different voices in the quarterback's ear. That's not necessarily what you want. So, I think, it's funny because you have the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, and he talks all the time, right? And then he said that all-in quote, which I think he may or may not regret, after the way that this offseason has turned out. But you look at the moves that the Houston Texans have made. That's the team in Texas that's been all in. Right? You go out and you get Stephon Diggs. You do all these different things to solidify everybody around the young quarterback. That's what you really need to do when he's going into his second year and you feel like, hey, we have a shot at becoming a real championship team here. You have to do that because it's not like, you can pay C.J. Stroud right now. It's the same thing that the 49ers are doing. Like, they can't pay Brock Purdy either until after the season. So you are allowed to then contractually, basically, within the structures and the framework and the salary cap, go out and do different things and get in different guys so that they can help you. When you have the quarterback solidified, it makes everything that much easier.
It was an AFC South note, I suppose, but Derrick Henry now to the Ravens. Obviously, that does help the Jags and the defense not give up over 100 yards to him. But as far as the Ravens go,
every year.
Yeah, exactly. With all the highlights for Derrick Henry against his hometown team. But the Ravens now, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, how much more dangerous is that offense?
It should be more dangerous. I don't think we're necessarily going to have the thought of, Lamar Jackson's going to throw for like 4,000 to 5,000 yards, right? And they thinking in this press conference where he signed this deal last year, like, I want to throw for 6,000. It's like, and that's not going to happen. That's just not who the Ravens are. It's not in their DNA. But you bring in somebody over like a Derrick Henry who has been so good for so long, and he's been so consistent. So had over 1,000 yards last year, really kind of carrying that offense as Will Levis, another young quarterback who came in and did a decent job. When you look at that offense, second year with Todd Monken, you're not necessarily going to fool people with thinking, they're going to throw it around the yard. Now, is Lamar Jackson capable of being that kind of effective passer? Yes. But if it's, third down and 2, and you've got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield, that's not a good situation for defenses because I don't know who you try to target to stop because Derrick Henry's going to fall forward and he's going to get 3 yards, right? And so Lamar Jackson, he's going to be able to evade you and get more than that. So, that's going to be a really, really tough situation for defenses to try and key in on who do you stop with the run because if it's not one, you have to think that the other is going to be really effective.
Now, Miles, before we let you go, luckily this isn't a conversation we have to have here in Jacksonville right now, but a lot of QB battles around the NFL. What is which one are you most excited about as we head into camp? Because obviously we have the Fields and Russ, we have the Darnold and McCarthy, the Kirk and Penix, we got Denver, whatever they're going to do down there. So what are your thoughts on those QB battles, and what are you most excited for?
Well, you mentioned Atlanta. You'd have to think that shouldn't really be a battle. I mean, the fact that they brought in Penix, who knows what exactly they're thinking about over there, but I guess we will see. The one that really intrigued me, though, is up in Seattle, where you've got Geno Smith and Sam Howell. Sam Howell was the starter last year, obviously, and he did some good things with that Eric Bieniemy offense in Washington. Turned the ball over probably a little too much. Obviously, took way too many sacks. So I'm interested to see if he can really unseat Geno Smith. And I think Geno certainly has the upper hand in whatever quarterback battle that may be. But, I mean, this is a team in Seattle that has been pretty consistent under Pete Carroll. Now, maybe you'd say they underachieve. That's why they brought in McDonald as a head coach, so that they can stop doing that and improve defensively a little bit. But on offense, if they're going to be any good, the quarterback obviously has to be a part of that. So I'm interested to see if Sam Howell can take that experience starting that he got last year and really translate it into being a more effective quarterback, and a quarterback who's not going to take as many sacks and not going to turn the ball over as much. Because Geno Smith has not really done much of that in the last couple of years. But it's not like Geno Smith has been playing at what I think everybody would think would be an elite level. So that one definitely intrigues me when it comes to QBs.
Interesting, because that wouldn't have even been in my top 5, but I think that's a really smart angle. All right, Miles, well, we really appreciate it. And next time, I promise we won't have you on after we have Freddie T on.
Thank you. Please. Yeah. It was good to talk to you guys. Take care.
Thank you so much, Miles Simmons, Pro Football Talk. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. There's a certain romance to radio play-by-play.
We need you to be all strong and hot.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here. If you are looking to grow your career, Chick-fil-A restaurants are hiring and looking for folks to join their team. Right now, Chick-fil-A Jacksonville area restaurants are offering flexible hours, scholarship opportunities, and leadership development, just to name a few. You can find a friendly work environment with competitive pay and have fun at work with opportunities to serve your community. With locations all around Jacksonville, apply online or in person today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Andersen, where we deliver custom-designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 40% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Cataract
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowd9 Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowd9 is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit bowd9.com to schedule your consultation. Bowd9 Associates. They're keeping the First Coast focused.
This is Frank Frangie. Join Dan Hickett and me for All Things Gators, our podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Monday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gators Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Look, if mosquitoes ruin your summer fun, it's time to call Kingfish Pest Control. In my own experience, they are the kings of mosquito elimination. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get 50% off your first treatment. Sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get half off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I joke around and with my wife and call it my bionic knee.
But before Ernest became a patient with QC Kinetics, it was a different story.
I'd go to bed with my knee throbbing, heat, ice. I would get up in the middle of the night to get a drink or something, and I would just be hobbling.
He wasn't able to play on his rec basketball team or work in the yard. But QC Kinetics regenerative treatments turned around the situation without surgery or downtime, using Ernest's own healing properties to help restore his aching knee, now known as Ernest's bionic knee.
I am really happy because I am playing the game that I love so much, and I'm playing with my granddaughter, and I'm gardening, and I'm on my knees, and I'm jumping up. I have a 200-pound dog, and I'm playing with my dog.
Now Ernest is living his best life thanks to QC Kinetics, and so can you. Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Mia here, and you've heard me rave about my friends at Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 master septic contractor in all of Florida. But don't forget about Duck Duck Air Conditioning, the Jacksonville area's AC experts. Folks, the temperature has already turned up a notch this summer. Should your AC not be working at your home or business, Duck Duck AC can help. Call 904-862-6769.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
As we cool down here today, Taylor, it was a red hot show, and I'm going to say that Fred Taylor being jealous of all the things that this Jaguars contingent gets
like,
to
what
have.
are you doing to me?
Yeah, that is my biggest takeaway. Freddie T wishes he played 20 years earlier.
I love it. He's fantastic. I think that it is, when you look at the facilities of the Miller Electric Center, I'm sure there are players in the past that are like, man, what? We didn't get anything close to that. But at the same time, I do think certain positions, like a running back, probably would have loved playing back then more than they do, honestly, right now in the way the NFL is going. But I'm going to go to Twitter, one of our Heeligans that listens all the time. It's at Trevorville. And this is fantastic, and I hope it is pointing to some indicator of what this season's going to look like. But we talked a ton today about how the Panthers just won the Stanley Cup for the first time. Coincidentally enough, it was the Panthers' 30th year in the NHL. There's another Florida Cat team that's in their 30th season in the NFL. Well, this for the NFL, that's for the NHL. So interesting little thing there. One Cat team from Florida just won the Cup after 30 years, and another Cat team with the franchise quarterback just signed a bunch of money.
Yeah, I would love for us a year from now to be reminiscing on the Jaguars Super Bowl victory that would come up in February. That's going to do it for us today. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next. Mia O'Brien, like I said, on vacation. She'll be back next week. For Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. And tomorrow we will talk to you live from 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. First pitch, 12:05.